Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Hey, welcome to our live event here on social media. Again, my name is CW Zeb, and I'm the founder and CEO of Zeb University. Zeb University has been around for about 25 plus years. I've been in the sales industry for about 35 plus years. The company started out as Coach 37, and over the years, we evolved into an online university. And our goal here is to work with sales professionals, business owners, and business executives and showing them how to improve their communication skills so they can go out and earn more money and close more business and create more satisfied customers because that's what it's really all about. So today's event is going to go into the 7-step sales process along with the sales presentation skills needed to fulfill that 7-step sales process on a positive note. And I'm going to show you exactly what we developed over the last 25 years that we've been training a lot of business executives and sales professionals on how to close more business, how to earn more money, and just live a very good, comfortable life. Our average client that goes through our training earns anywhere from about 83,000 to about 400K per year in income, and we show them how to do that by improving the most important part of the sales presentation. And we're going to show you what that's all about today. Again, we are an online university, but we also have workshops and seminars, and we're willing to come to your place of business to show you to do our training and show you how our 7-step program works. It works massively and it works out really great for our clients. And hopefully you'll pick up some information today on throughout this live event. It's going to take maybe about 45, 50 minutes to go through it. So I hope that you're in a quiet location. You have a pen and a piece of paper, maybe some water like I do, just in case your throat get a little thirsty there. We're going to take a break in between somewhere as time goes on, just to stretch out a little bit and just to get some more water. But we're going to go right into this live event. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is CW Zeb. I'm excited to be here on social media on this live event. And we're going to talk about the sales process and what most sales executives focus on while they're out there. And we're going to talk about what they should be focusing on to close more business because the market has changed due to the internet and the incorporation of a lot of new technologies out there, especially that Chat GPT, that's going to change a lot of things. So we're going to show you how to maintain your customer base, how to grow your customer base, and how to earn more money. Because if you don't have the proper skills, you could be closing business, but you still could be leaving a lot of income, a lot of commission, and a lot of satisfied customers on the table if you don't have the proper skills needed to close business. It's very competitive out there unless you're selling a product that has a patent and you have the patent on the product and there's no competition. But if you're competing every single day out there against competition, other salespeople, then you probably want to equip yourself with as much information you possibly can and as many tools you possibly can to close as much business that you possibly can because you don't want to have a deal that you should have closed fall through the cracks because you missed something in that presentation. So we're going to go right into it. Again, my name is CW Zeb, and I'm going to talk about the 4 things or the 5 things that people talk about when they're out there doing a presentation. And one of the things that people talk about is the customer himself. When you're out there doing your presentation, you're talking to a customer, you're trying to gather as much information as you possibly can about that customer, their current supplier. You want to talk about the products and services that they're having, that they're dealing with now. Maybe there's an issue with the current supplier. Maybe they're not happy with the product or services that they're receiving from their current supplier or vendor. And these are things that a salesperson will talk about throughout the presentation. You're also going to talk about the current supplier or vendor. Never bash the vendor or supplier. Just agree with the customer. Maybe shake your head, but never talk negative about your competition. That's not a good thing to do. And these are some of the things, again, that you talk about throughout the presentation. You also talk about your solution to any problem that they might be having. That's important. If there is a problem and you have a solution, then you have a greater chance of closing business. Then, of course, we also talk about price. Pricing is important, but remember, never mention price until the end of the presentation. Your goal throughout the presentation is to build as much value as you possibly can about your product or services to your potential customer, and then you can talk about price. The more value they see in your products and services, then guess what? They're willing to pay a higher price for it. So never talk about price. There's an old saying: whoever mentions price first is the loser. If the customer ask you about the price before you complete your presentation, hold that off. Tell them you get to it, but you want to continue to show them the value of your products and services and why they should be doing business with you. So again, we're going to talk about the entire seven-step process, and we all know how that works. It's been around for the past 1,000 years, if you want to say that. It's about prospecting and getting to know your customers. And when you're out there prospecting, there's a lot of information that's going to be going back and forth between you and your customer. And when you're out, like I said, when you're out there prospecting, you got to be able to prospect the right way. A lot of salespeople are not sure how to prospect. They just maybe follow someone in the field and they learned about prospecting, but there's a certain way to prospect and there's a certain way to discover, to ask questions the right way. All this is part of the seven-step process. And if you don't do it the right way, you can blow the chance of you doing business with that customer down the road. Because remember, at this point, you're just prospecting. You're knocking on some doors or you're making some phone calls and you're trying to get in contact with the person that's in charge of making that decision regarding your product or service, whatever it is that you might be offering. That's important. When you're doing the discovery, which is also important, that's when you're asking the right questions. Maybe you're talking to a gatekeeper and you're trying to get to the decision maker. You have to be very, very careful at this point because you don't want to blow any opportunities down the road. I've been out in the field with sales professionals and they ask too many questions to the wrong person and they blow the opportunity. You got to be very gentle when it comes down to this part of the seven-step process when you're prospecting and asking questions, discovering, trying to find out who their current supplier is, who's in charge of making that decision. Is it a committee? Is it one person or is it two people that makes that decision? Is it a technical problem? And you got to get an IT person involved. Is the person that signs the check, is it the VP or the owner of the company? This is very, very important. And then when you finally get to the person that's in charge of making that decision, now you're doing your presentation. Now, this is also super important because, of course, all seven steps within the seven-step process is important. But when you're doing your presentation, this is when your selling skills really come into play because now you're sitting down with that person or those people, and you're trying to make it this. You're trying to have them make a decision. You're trying to persuade them the benefits of your products and services and why they should do business with you. So this is super important. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the seven-step process because that's not what we're here today. We're here to talk about more about the three elements, that middle bar that you see in the middle, the three elements that's involved within the seven-step process. We all familiar with this. If you're on this presentation, you've been in sales for some time, so you're familiar with the seven-step process. But I just want to go a little bit into it. Then you're going to be handling objections and going back and forth. You're going to be doing some negotiation, going back and forth. That's key. Then you're going to try to close, do a trial close, maybe take a few steps back, do some more negotiation, then do another close, and eventually you're going to follow up once that deal is closed, and you're going to ask them for new business, some referrals, maybe some other contacts within that organization, maybe some of their friends that might, or co-workers, or maybe some of their other business owners in the area that might be interested in the same products or services that you're offering. Now, this is the seven-step process. We're all familiar with it. But within that seven-step process, there's a lot of information that's going to be exchanged between you and your potential customers. And that's where our training comes in. You see, most sales professionals have never been trained on nonverbal communication, which is important, that the transfer of human energy that's going back and forth throughout the presentation. Most of the sales professionals out there have never been trained on the most important part of the sales process. Now, they've been trained on their products and services. They know their price structure. They talk about the competition. They've been trained to ask certain questions to get information out of their potential customer, whatever situation they might have, whatever problems they might have. They've been trained on all that. But as human beings, and when it comes down to communicating, there's one thing they haven't been trained on is that the spoken word only accounts for about 7% of all human communication. The other part of the other 93% of the communication that takes place throughout the sales presentation is what we focus on. So as you see in this middle bar here, we have the starting point, which is 1%, and the finishing point, which is 100%. And that's really representing the starting point is the prospecting and the finishing point is the follow-up. So let's look at the entire sales presentation as being 100%. A bar that's 100%. And the goal is to control as much of that sales presentation as you possibly can. And once you're able to control a large percentage of that sales presentation, then you're able to control the outcome. And that's an old saying, whoever controls the process will control the outcome. So your goal is to be able to control that process or in that sales presentation entirely or as much as you possibly can. And the way to do that is to understand how human beings actually communicate to each other and how to talk to someone, where to sit in the meeting, and all that's part of our training that we provide to our sales professionals and sales executives and clients that go into our training program. It's very unique. I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So as you're in the presentation, you're talking about certain things about the products and services, and you're talking about pricing. You're trying to get an idea of what problems they might be having with their current supplier. In your mind, you're thinking about a solution that you're trying to come up with that's going to help them make a decision. You're trying to persuade them to say, hey, I need you to go with our products and services because we can handle the problems that you're having and we can give it to you at a good price. So what happens is that throughout the entire sales presentation, as you talk to your potential customer or client, you're talking about pricing, you're talking about products and things of that nature. Well, the ultimate goal is to close the business. And once you see that that's the ultimate goal, is to close business, but also to have a satisfied customer is the ultimate goal when you're doing the presentation. And a lot of sales professionals focus only on their product and service and earning money. Now, when you're in a presentation, the customers can pick up on that. They know that you're either there for them or you're there for yourself or your company. The goal is to not focus on earning money, but focus on solving a solution, solving a problem that the customer may be having. That's the ultimate goal. Because what happens, the more problems that you solve with the product or services that you're offering, the more money you're going to earn. It's that simple. So the mindset as a sales professional is to be out there solving problems, not earning money. The money will come to you. That's a guarantee. You're closing business, that means you're going to make more money. So don't focus on earning money or making more money. Focus on solving your clients or your customers' problems. And if you do that, you're going to close more business. I'm going to show you exactly what we're talking about. You're going to close more business and earn more money because the customers can feel that vibration that you're bringing into that sales presentation. They know whether or not you're there for them or you're there for yourself. Let me show you what that's all about. So when you're out there with your customers, the goal is to close business. That's the ultimate goal, is to close business. But you also want to satisfy your customer needs. That's super important. If you can satisfy your customer needs, then you're going to earn more money. That's not a problem. You're going to turn a profit. You're going to make a ton of money. Now, I've made a ton of money in the sales profession as a sales professional over the years because I've learned early in my career that it's not about me, but it's about the customer. And once you take that mindset when you're out there every day knocking on doors or prospecting, going into your presentations, going into your meetings, if you take that mindset that is about the customer needs and not about you earning money, I guarantee you're going to make more money. You're going to close more business because the words that you say, the tone of your voice, things that you do within that meeting is going to show the customer that you're on their side and you're there to help them solve a problem. And that's the key when it comes down to selling, especially with all the competition out there, especially with all the technology out there. Sales professionals are not really focusing on solving a problem or taking care of that customer needs. They're more focusing on earning more money, and that's the problem that's out there today. And we're going to show you how to take away from that mindset of earning money and just focus on closing business, and that's what we call the human side of the sales process. So as you're out there talking to your customers, like I said, the seller process is 100%. Your price only accounts for about 10% of the entire sales presentation or the sales process. So when you're out there prospecting and you're discovering the customer needs and what problems they might be having, when you're going through that presentation and you're dealing with those objections, and you're dealing with negotiating, remember that your price only accounts for about 10% of the entire sales process. That's it. And the reason why it's only 10% is because your competition might can take a percentage here off, or you might be a little little percent lower or higher in your competition pricing, maybe 3 or 4%. It's not that much of a difference in pricing these days with all the technology that's out there. So when you're thinking about closing out business, a lot of people focus on price, but it only counts for about 10%. That's it in the presentation. Your product accounts for an additional 10% of the presentation when you're talking to customers. Not that much of a difference between your product and the customer's product. Unless you have a patent on your product, then it might be some difference. But when you're looking at the entire sales process, your pricing only accounts for about 10% of the entire process, and your product accounts for about 10% of the entire process. And this is where 90% of most sales professionals focus on. They focus on product and price. Price and product. They talk about the benefits, the features, the colors, the size, whatever they might have available. They talk about pricing. They try to lower the price. They do to close the business. It really isn't about pricing. It really isn't about the product because that's only going to control about 20% when you combine both of them together. About 20% of the entire sales process. That leaves 80% of the process up for grabs. That means that if you're only controlling the price and the product, who's controlling the other 80% of the entire 100% sales process? And remember, like I said earlier, whoever controls the process will control the outcome. So wouldn't it benefit you as a sales professional to learn what that other 80% of the entire sales process is? And if you're able to control that 80% of the entire sales process, plus incorporate maybe another 10% on your product or maybe another 10% on the pricing, now you have a greater chance of closing business because it's really about controlling the entire process. And since we are the sales professionals, you want to be able to close more business. Now, someone's going to close the business. Either the customer is going to close you that they don't need your product or services, or you're going to close them that they do need your product and services. So our goal here at Zev University is to show you how to control that other 80% of the entire sales process. And I know you're wondering what that 80% is, and I'm going to go into that in a minute, but I really want you to understand that when you're out there selling, don't have the mindset that pricing is everything. Pricing is no longer king. Your product is important, but it might not be as important as you think because the competition can have a product similar to yours, and maybe it might be off maybe 2 or 3% here and there, 5%, and pricing may be off 3 or 4, maybe 5%. That's not that much of a difference unless you're selling a super high ticket product and you're saying, well, it's $1 million product and 10% can be hey, $100,000. That can be a big difference. Now you have to still negotiate back and forth. But overall, across the board, your product only accounts for about 10%, and your pricing only accounts for about 10% of the entire sales process. That's what we're talking about. And the goal is to control the entire process or control as much as you possibly can. Remember, whoever controls the process will control the outcome. So the other part, the 80% of the sales process that most sales professionals have not been trained on is the key. That's the key to closing more business. If you train on that 80% of the entire sales process, that's the key to earning more business. And that's where we come in here at Zev University. So I'm going to go into that in a minute and show you exactly what I'm talking about. When you're out there in front of your customers or clients, you're going to talk about your products, you're going to talk about your pricing, you're going to talk about the customer needs, you will talk about their current vendor or supplier, whatever the situation might be. All that's important. That's super important. But depending on how you talk about it, depending on what words you use throughout the presentation, it depends on when you say it, how you say it, and we all heard that saying, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it is true. That's true when it comes down to selling and closing business and doing the presentation. It's not what you say, but how you say it. To give an example, I remember I worked for a company called Poland Springs. You gotta remember this right here, it's Poland Springs? Yeah. Poland Springs, I was director of sales and went to this big financial company in New York, and they were spending about $250,000 a year on bottled water throughout the entire organization in different offices throughout the United States. And we went in and we wanted them to actually pay double the price. We wanted them to spend $500,000 a year because Poland Spring is a high-end premium product. So we needed them to spend $500,000 a year, or maybe 100% increase in what they're spending now for their budget they have annually for bottled water. And when I told them that, they said, "Well, how can you must be out of your mind? Why would I spend twice the amount of money for bottled water?" I said, "Because it's Poland Springs, and if you're dealing with your clientele and you want your clientele to give you the business, you're dealing with a clientele that has a minimum of $100,000 to invest. Most likely, I guarantee you, they're drinking Poland Springs. They're not drinking some off the shelf brand in their home or in their office. They're going with the best. And when they come into your conference room and they see Poland Springs on that conference table, you're building a rapport with them, whether you know it or not. You're giving them something that they're familiar with. So is it really about the price? No, it's not. It's about presenting a product the way it should be presented. And it's about not what you say, but how you say it. And that's the key to being a professional professional and being a sales professional, is that you have to know when to say, what words to use, and when to say it and how to say it is the key. Communication is the key. So if your product only accounts for 10% of the sales presentation and your pricing accounts for 10% of the sales presentation, what is that other 80% that's missing? And that other 80% is your communication skills. That's the key to being able to close more business, have satisfied customers, and turn a bigger profit. Is your communication skills is the key to everything that you do today, especially as a sales professional. If your communication skills are up to par, most likely you're going to close more business and you're going to increase your bottom line. You're going to increase your profits, because it's all about how you say it and when you say it, depending on what you say. That's the key. Excuse me, let me get a sip of water here. It's a live event. That's the key to closing more business. That's what we believe here at Zeb University. We put together this system over the last 25 years, and we've trained sales professionals and business executives on how to improve their communication skills. It's all about your communication skills these days. It's something that we call Zeb's Advanced Nonverbal Communication Training. That's the key to being successful, reaching your full potential as a sales professional or a business executive. When you're in a meeting, if you're saying the right words, if you're understanding what the customer is saying and understanding what you're saying, it makes it a lot easier for you to build that rapport and that trust and that likability with them. And that's what it comes down to, because people are going to buy from who they like and trust, but they're going to spend more money with their friends, and that's just the way it works. So if you're able to improve your communication skills, remember, it's all about what you say and how you say it compared to when you say it. That's also important too. But if you're able to improve your communication skills, you're going to close more business. That's guaranteed. Those who earn more money have great communication skills. I mean, if you look at example for, let's look at an actor or an actress in Hollywood. Those who present themselves big on the screen with their communication skills earn more money. An actor like Tom Cruise is going to earn a lot more money because you can feel the emotion and the energy through the screen. It's the same thing as a sales professional or business executive. You have to be able to add some passion and emotions to your presentation when you're doing your presentation. And we teach you how to do that, because if you add passion and emotions to your presentation, your audience is going to feel that, whether it's negative or positive. We show you how to stay positive throughout the presentation. But if you add more positive emotions to your presentation, you're going to close more business. Remember, human beings are emotional creatures, and then we use our logic to justify the decision we just made, but most of the time our decisions are based off our emotions. And your communication skills are very important. Your nonverbal listening skills, body language, facial expressions, mimicking a customer, where to sit in the meeting, how to shake a lady's hand compared to a man's hand. These are all communication cues that people pick up on, whether they're going to like you or dislike you during the presentation skills. So when the customer says something throughout the presentation, when you're negotiating or you're discovering what their needs are, they say something you don't like, you got to be able to have the emotional intelligence enough to hold back those emotions and have that poker face and not show those emotions on your face, even though you might not be agreeing with what they just said. Because as soon as you show some negativity to what they're saying or speaking about, that's going to throw up a red flag in their face, and they're going to say, do I really want to do business with this person? They don't agree with me. I don't like his body language. He just sat back, he folded his arms, he's not agreeing with me. So those are things that you have to pick up on as a sales professional. Remember, it's not about product and pricing anymore. It's about your communication skills. It's about how you relay your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions and passions about your products and services that you're offering to them. And people pick up on it. That energy that you have in your presentation, they're gonna pick up on that. If it's negative, if you have low energy, they're gonna pick up on that. But if you show some excitement, some like passion about your products and services, they're gonna pick up on that too. And they're gonna say, hey, this salesperson really enjoy what they're doing. They really have confidence in what they're offering to me. They're gonna feel all that. And these are the things that we show you in our training. So if you're serious about being a sales professional, and if you really want to take your performance to the next level and reach your full potential, you have to improve your nonverbal communication skills, and that's where Zeb University come in. Listen, I'm excited to show you exactly all about our training within that seven-step program. There's there's certain way you want to present when you're out there prospecting. There's certain way you want to present yourself when you're discovering. There's certain things you want to say and not say during the presentation. And there's a certain way you want to be able to present yourself during the objections, when you're doing the negotiation, when you're closing business, and when you follow up. All these cues within the seven-step process is important. And if you just think that it's just about product and pricing, and maybe some communication skills, you're gonna lose out there. You have to be able to communicate as much as you possibly can on a professional level because the competition is out there, and people are becoming more and more sharp these days. Not only your competition, but your customers. Whatever product or services that you're offering, they probably have already read up on your product, read up on your company, read up on the competition, know about your pricing. So how do you go out there and close more business? By giving them something they've never seen before, and that's where the communication skills come in. Hey, I'm hoping that this short presentation, about 30 minutes, was good for you, and it's a live event here on social media. I'm hoping that we're able to maybe open up your eyes to a new way of selling. I think this is a new way of selling. It has worked out great for a lot of our clients, and we've trained people throughout the United States over the last 25 years, and they're out there earning a lot of money, closing a lot of business, and having and creating a lot of satisfied customers. Their Rolodex are thick because it's all about building rapport relationships with your customer. Pricing is important, yes it is. Product is important, that's important too. But building a strong relationship these days is the key to being successful as a business executive or a sales professional. And we show you how to do that here at Zeb University. My name is CW Zeb. I'm excited about the opportunity to train with you, to work with you and your team, or work with you as an individual sales executive. If you want to reach your full potential, the key for you reaching your full potential is improving your communication skills, your nonverbal communication skills, and we can show you how to do that with our nonverbal communication training. Against the CWZ with Zeb University. I'm hoping that, and I know that this information was brief, but I'm hoping that it was educational to you, opened up your eyes to a new way of selling, and ultimately the goal is to close business, have satisfied customers, and to earn more money and stop leaving all that money on the table. And how do you do that? You do that with Zeb's Advanced Nonverbal Communication Training. If you guys want to reach out to us, you reach out to us anytime on the web at zebtraining.com or zebuniversity.com, or you can give us a call toll free in the office at 1-888-226-5051, extension 701. We look forward to talking to you. Again, thank you again for this live event here on social media. I look forward to speaking to you. I see you guys next time. And as always, come run with us, Zeb University. We truly believe that you too can have it all in life with the right nonverbal communication training as a sales professional. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.